Hi, everyone. It's Shannon Port. Welcome. Oh, let me see here. It looks like some people are on. We're starting right at 3 o'clock today, right on time. And I will just give it a minute for some people to come on. I just shared over on social media. And while we're waiting, I will give you an idea of what we're going to do today, as well as I want to set us up for our video tomorrow. And so today is day 9 of our 21-day I Am Goddess meditation and activation. We are meeting for 21 days in December. 2 of those days are rest and integration. And we're leading up to the December solstice at December 21st, on which day we will have a huge celebration and meet live. And so, hello from England. Nice to have you. So today is day 9. If you're joining in, if you're just finding this meditation, it's Goddess Daily, live daily meditation, know that I've had this question a lot. You know that you can join in and you do not have to be caught up in order to join the lives for the rest of the month. So if you are seeing this live in December 2020 and you're catching it halfway through, please join us at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time if you are available. And then you can go back. I've done it in a way that even though they do build on top of each other, each meditation and activation builds on the previous, but each one is also universal and it transcends time and space. And so you can join in, or you can even pick and choose the ones that call to you. Our theme for today is Goddess Frequency, and we are going to be talking about frequency. Very, very powerful. And we landed here as a result of all of our previous days. And so I'm going to tell you what we have in store for tomorrow for day 10 in just a moment. I'm going to take a peek down and say hi to everyone here. Nice to see you from Spain, Seattle, California, San Diego, another California, England, Netherlands. Oh, so nice to see you. Oh, it's amazing. My heart has just been feeling the network around the globe. It's like a grid, and there's so many people building these right now, and they're really activating the planet in ways that are just really aligned with where we're meant to be right now. So this is what I would like to tell you. Hi in Croatia. This is what I would like to tell you for tomorrow. Tomorrow is day 10. However, if you're joining this live, know that tomorrow the title for the video will be set up for the solar eclipse that's happening on December 14th. So tomorrow's the 10th day, but the video will be titled, I have a really fun title for it, but it will also say Total Solar Eclipse for December 14th. That will be our day 10 Goddess meditation and activation, and contained in that video will be everything that we're doing daily. We will just be looking at, I meant to make this so that we actually look at the goddess energies that are coming onto the planet. That particular solar eclipse is so special and is so connected to the goddess. I almost gave away the title, but I'm going to wait and post it tomorrow. So please join. Don't be thrown off by the title. And then what I'll do is I will come back after the eclipse passes and I'll retitle it Day 10, so that if you're seeing this well into the future, let's say you're seeing this in 2021, it will say Day 10 of our 21-day goddess meditation. And so, all right, that being said, we'll get started. The other thing is that I do have the signups up now in the previous videos for the archetypes of 2021 free workshop that I'm doing. It's a webinar, and there'll be a link that you can sign up. It will put you on the list. And then when I send out that link within 24 hours of the workshop, it's happening this month, I believe on December 23rd, you will receive a link for that. So that should be under the videos in the description box with any other links. There's a link for my mentoring program that's starting in January. And I promise I'm almost ready to send out info for all of you who have emailed me, and that will be coming in the next day or two. All right. Okay, here we are. We will get started. Hello from Berlin. Oh, hello from Miami and Ohio and Germany. Wow. All right. So, today, what I'm going to do, we're going to talk a little bit about frequency and then we'll go into the meditation. We're just going to go right in. Um, I'm going to then give 4 ways that we can check in and realign our frequency. And so we'll be giving during the meditation 4 ways. In fact, maybe we'll go through them as we enter into the womb, into the inner chamber. So our frequency, this word is a word that's been around, and but it has a very powerful meaning. It's our energetic activity and signature of our auric field. Our aura is the container of our individual consciousness. So we all share one great consciousness of the goddess, but each one of us are also building our own creation in our own consciousness. And so wherever we are at individually, there is a frequency for each one of us. And so the frequency that we carry is the determiner of a great many things, and I will mention some of them. Our frequency determines what happens in our life. It's what puts those coordinates in our auric field, and it's what magnetizes us to people, to events, to situations, to groups, to movements we talked about yesterday. The past 2 days have been very, very powerful leading up to this. What we are attracted to or drawn to has to in some way be a match to our frequency. And our frequency is made up of our above and our below. It's made up of our inner and our outer. It's made up of our thoughts, our inner words. It's made up of where we focus every day, what we give our focus to. That's right in our field. You know, the thing about frequency is it does not lie. Now, our frequency can be jumbled day to day. And in fact, we talked about this a little bit yesterday. Continuity of our consciousness is the goal of the master. To be able to move through the dance, but to also always have a continuity. And that continuity is based on the highest frequency, which is inner peace and joy. It's a divine bliss. And it's like that cosmic Shakti or orgasm of divine love. And it doesn't sometimes it gets that spiritual awakening consciousness is misunderstood as being checked out, this kind of bliss that isn't interested or that is super detached, or disinterested is a word that was used in earlier inner teachings, in the early inner mysteries. That word disinterested was used a lot to describe being detached. But when we're talking about that inner state of peace through the goddess frequency, it's not detached at all. It's very much part of the group and part of the group consciousness, and interconnected and reacting and having responsiveness to the world, the manifest world. And so the joy and the bliss that are inside us are really our power. They're our creative power, because from that state, we create like a god and a goddess. We create like the goddess. We birth the divine will. The lower creations are birthed from the detached consciousness, which is sometimes called the fallen ego, and in the Gnostic teachings have their own whole mythology around it. But it's our consciousness that was detached, that dropped, and that lost touch with the highest source energy. And when that happens, we still create. We can't help but create, but we create without our true north, our true north is it's our vertical axis aligned, and so I will just leave that right there. And I'm just going to have you take a moment. Let's tune in. All right, so I'm just going to have you take a moment and check in with yourself and see where you're at right now. Just notice how you're feeling. You might take in what's happening around you or what your day has been, and notice how that it's a direct effect on your frequency, how you're feeling. I know we're having our first snow today where I live, and that's such a frequency changer for me. There's such a lot of joy that bubbles up inside when you see that first snowfall. So powerful. Things like that are gifts from Gaia, gifts from the earth goddess that affect our heart. When we talked yesterday about memories and about visuals that open the heart, and the first snowfall is one of those, for me anyway. So just noticing what has affected you today. Why are you in this space that you're at? And now just be at peace with it. Just own it. The first thing, in fact, we'll start with number one. The very first thing to do is to recognize the frequency that we are embodying right now. So when we recognize it, we give it some attention and some focus. The moment that we open that, we open a lens into our own reality, it begins to move, because now we have a mind fertilizing a consciousness, and our consciousness is interacting with us. Even though it's one consciousness, we split in two so we can have this dance. And so my conscious mind becomes aware of my frequency, and now my frequency is available to dance, to move, and to be shaped. And so just recognizing, having awareness of where your frequency, honoring her, bowing to her. And take a deep breath in. Our breath is very connected to our vibration and where we're at. And check in with how you're breathing. There's a direct link to our breath and our frequency. In fact, one might say they are the same thing. How we are breathing will always give the read. I use this a lot in my work, but I sometimes talk about when I first started teaching yoga. And it didn't take long before I realized that I could sense people when I would walk around in a live class, and I could sense people by their breath. Our breath is in our field, and how we are breathing, because it's connected to our heart and our diaphragm, and how we breathe, and even the flow of blood in our brain. And so how we breathe gives off a feeling. And I really developed the ability to feel someone's breath before I even got close, and to just know where they were at, to know where their emotional body was, so that I could interact appropriately. This is part of our gifts as when we're in our goddess energy, because when we understand others, we are provided with enough information to have a more sophisticated and beautiful interaction with people. When we just kind of bulldoze onto people and push ourselves onto people, we miss an opportunity. And that's what happens oftentimes when we get triggered. We just fly out of the gate, and we're ready to go, and then we miss the subtleties, the subtle energies of their frequency, and oftentimes we misread people. And it's very unfortunate, because every time we do that, we miss an opportunity to love and to grow. Even we get to backstep after we catch ourselves. But as we come into this power, we just increase our ability to move through this world and to see what's going on in the world. Because every group, I won't go into the details of who's who, but every group has a frequency and is carrying something. And um, the more discerning we are, the more we understand what role we play. How does our music fit with their music? How do we harmonize rather than make discordant music? Just taking a deep breath in. So once we become aware and recognize, the first thing we can do, the word I wrote down is forgiveness or surrender. They're very closely related. Surrender and forgive. So forgive just means to let go. And surrender means to let go, to surrender what we're holding. And what that also means is any judgment. So sometimes we see ourselves, in fact, this is quite common to judge ourselves. This is the most common thing right now because oftentimes we're carrying a lot of self abandonment and self hate, self pity, self loathing, self defeat, self. This is really strong language, but I'm only going that far just to show that it's not uncommon if you've had these feelings, because sometimes we don't even recognize it for what it is, but the frequency will tell us, and how it gives us impulses to act and soothe ourselves. We begin to recognize what we're carrying, that first step, and then number two, forgive it. You can't release something negative until it's forgiven, and this is why we talk so much about forgiveness of the world and forgiveness of those people who really trigger us, because before we can even start to heal it, we have to forgive it. It's the Christ teaching: forgive, set people free in order to set yourself free. The moment we latch on, we talked about digging two graves. When we judge and attack, we're digging not only a grave for the other person in our own consciousness, but a grave for ourselves. So we forgive. And it feels so good. It becomes automatic once we really learn it. Just let go. Because we understand that we can move. We're never static or stuck. Although we carry our patterns, that the ones that stay with us for a while, day to day, we're meant to. This is what makes us stronger, learning how to forgive and let go. So we surrender. So just take a moment. This is the best self-love. You can turn victimhood into self-love, and you're off to a new reality within minutes. So just loving yourself by saying, it's okay. Wherever I'm at today, that came together because of many, many events that led to that moment. I forgive all of them. All right. As soon as you feel a bit of release and freedom, we now are going to go into our inner vision and our creative imagination. And so, because we've cleared the canvas, it's ready for a new image. And so now you're going to connect with your true frequency. What is it? What would you like to create in place of what was? It doesn't have to be, it can be very organic the way it's birthed. You just, I always start with love. Like, okay, I want to bring love into this moment to replace whatever was contracting. I'd like to start with love. And so sometimes we have our rituals, things that reset us. A glass of water, a cup of tea, taking a moment to write something down that comes to you. And so once you feel ready, you begin to now open the channel for your creative imagination to start to go to work to create the frequency that you desire. And desire is the key word, because desire and frequency are very connected. When our frequency is really low and lost, our desire force is all over the place, or it's in our patterns. And so I'm going to have you come in right now and just let's do it right here. Think about the intention you have set for how you would like to cross over into the age of Aquarius. And so just bring that into your mind. I had everyone think about what you really want to be, what you really want to be going forward in the world. What would you how would you like to serve? How would you like to connect with your partner? How would you what kinds of friends would you like to have? How would you like your home to be? Where do you see the world healing? Like you probably have a new vision for a particular area, something you would like to see regenerated or restored. What is that, and how does it connect to your gifts and what you can bring in? So just take a moment right there. We're gonna bring that in. Think about the hearts that you vibrate with. This is big. So think about those people who fit into who are vibrating with you at a similar frequency, and begin to see them gathering around you, supporting each other, loving each other, allowing each other to be who you are and contribute, having really creative conversations and input to whatever however in whatever way you're working together. So it's a balance, it's a dance, and everyone understands their part and feels equally valued, honored, seen, and important, because this is what the age of Aquarius is about. That there's no competition in the world. There's sometimes somebody's really sounding their note and they've reached their peak, and it's glorious. We can celebrate people who are really, everyone gets their turn to really be on. And part of being in a group is that when that happens for someone, we all bow to that person and celebrate that person. And that's what makes life so beautiful, that we each have our turn, and sometimes we have it together, and then sometimes we're down, and sometimes we support each other. But we always know that when we're tuned in to our divine vision of ourself, that vision takes care of us. It creates our frequency. The only thing you must be loyal to is this practice we're doing right now, because when you forgive the contractions and rebirth your frequency and your image and what you're bringing in, you get empowered all over again every time. There's so much focus right now on what other people are doing, and this is what I was hearing this morning when I was thinking about today. Sometimes we have to withdraw our attention from everybody else, especially if we're struggling. If we're having a time where we're kind of struggling to define ourselves, pull back and stop giving too much attention to other people, because then we'll start comparing or thinking or judging. That doesn't do us any good. In order to really create who you are, no comparing, no judging. Go out and play with other people when you're ready. And when you have what you need to contribute ready to go, you feel good about it. And then you realize people show up and people are ready to work with you. And you will attract those people who are right, a good fit. And so just again, the creative imagination, building that vision back up into your field. And now claim it. Claim it. Claim it as your point of action and your gnosis. Bind yourself with it so that you can act from that place. So having a vision is one thing, but really owning it and acting upon it and feeling it is the final step that cannot be forgotten. And right now, one of the number one things that I see with people sometimes is that sometimes we want to consume more and more information, and we forget to practice, and we forget to implement what we know. And so at this time, we'll talk about this also a little later down the road, having a container and a structure, we talked about this all the first days, is the only way that you can claim it. So to claim it, we have to act upon it, and repetition and routine build frequency. I want to share a story with you, and I'm going to see if this person is on today. So, one of my dear girlfriends, hi, nice to see you. I just saw some more people that I love. Okay, so one of my girlfriends that I went to acting school with, and at the University of Washington in Seattle. Yet she was on the video yesterday, and she had a memory yesterday, and we talked about memories and how they open our heart. But she had a memory yesterday of the program that her and I went through together. We went through a very heightened training program for 2 years. We were undergrads, but we were accepted into a graduate study program for 2 years as undergrads. And we got to work with the graduate students in their program, and we trained. And this is a really good example. We were actors in training, and it was very rigorous, serious training. We trained in a teaching and a foundation called Suzuki for actors. And this was a very physical and vocal training that was based on martial arts, among other things. But it was based on, the primary martial art was Aikido, a Japanese martial art. And so we trained as actors physically every day. And we would do really strenuous physical training while reciting Shakespeare. And so we would just be, and this training was to open up our muscles in our legs. We did a lot of, we would march, we would do work with a pole, and we would come into these physical postures that were strenuous but very precise. And this training was grueling, but we did it every day, and we got very, very strong. What she said was that this was such a profound time to remember it. It's so in her cellular memory that she was listening to some music that came on for dinner that reminded her of a production of Macbeth, where some of the faculty put on a production of Macbeth that was just stunning. And she said all of a sudden, the whole cellular memory of that training came back, and it was alive, and it was so there. And this was also for me a very, very powerful time in my life. And it's there, that frequency, because we did it and we repeated it over and over, and we were committed to it, and it was a structure, and there was discipline. There was such great respect when we walked into the black theater box, into that room. We were not allowed to bring anything else. We had to walk in clean. We had to leave everything at the door. And if there was something to be worked out, we worked it out when we trained, and we trained to really powerful music. And what we were doing is we were tuning our frequency as performing artists to be able to run through this technology, Shakespeare, which is a very demanding, word to work with. And they wanted to produce powerful, strong actors that could project. We wanted to be able to project to the back of the house without any mic, because we were so strong and so centered. And we were working with what the Japanese call ki, Chinese chi, but it was learning how to work with energy and frequency. And so I wanted to share that because it fits in with training. We are masters in training. Frequency, and this is really, really powerful, and then we'll start to close. Initiation is based on our frequency, and one cannot pretend to know what initiation is at certain levels until you reach a certain frequency, because when we attune ourselves and we begin to have some command over this amazing technology that we have, we are privy to new levels of carrying divine love in our field and new levels of light. All of this is determined by frequency. And so when a preparation for any kind of initiation, a true preparation is very real. And our world is beginning to wake up and catch on, but it's not a game, meaning, we see there's a natural cycle that's carrying us through this time. Evolution just happens. The elements move according to the group frequency and group consciousness. But the divine will is when we become co-creators and we're ready to hold more. And this is when we begin to see really profound changes in our life, and that requires us, each one of us, to own that responsibility. And that's why we work through all our stuff. And that's why we talked about emotional body healing yesterday. We talked about divine love the day before. I believe it was vision the day before, divine feminine energy the day before, consciousness the day before, and the body the day before. We're coming into just understanding this so that we can carry it forward with greater freedom. And this is the other thing about that training we did as actors, that when we as an actor, once we, so this is really strict training, but once you got on stage, there were no rules because you were so well trained and your vehicle was so available to be used by the divine energy that you could, like we said, a great artist can throw all the rules out the door. And I remember, I remember the first time I did a play. It was a Chekhov play after I had really been training. And I remember I'll never forget this because it was a compliment. It was from one of my teachers, and she came to the play and she said, or no, it was Miss Julie. I'm sorry, it was Miss Julie. That's right. She came to the play and she said, she's like, in a good way, I see the work in you, but without seeing the work, because the goal was, you don't want to see the work, you just want to see the performance. But she said, you have transformed through it. And so that I just wanted to leave you with that because it's in our cellular. Once we have it, we own it. This is really deep today. All right, so just taking a deep breath in. It's intimacy because it's knowing yourself very deeply and then valuing yourself and who you are. Truly becoming a master, having a continuity of consciousness that can no longer be, with all the changes that are happening in the world, it's nice to know that you can not have to have fear, that you can really own who you are. And that inside is your teacher and your core power to be in this world. And if it should be our time to go, and it's our time to go, and then it's okay. There's no fear. And so, all right, that brings us inner peace and a great joy and the ability to love others. It's like all of a sudden, I wanted to say this one more thing. When we have seen this level of ourself and done all the healing of the dark we talked about, we have such it's so fascinating and joyful to work with other people and come into contact with other people because there's not a threat. We are no longer threatened by other people's imperfections because we have a greater understanding. And so we don't have to fear others. We in fact, we delight at the human journey of growing and blossoming, and we can love people where they are. We don't need everyone to be where we are. What we have in politics is that, it's like, if you don't think what I think, not only will I come after you, but I will, tell the world how awful you are, or I will cancel you, or I will, you're done. You have to think what I think, word for word. And it's even questioning, do you believe this word for word? You don't? Well, guess what? This is all, it's so elementary. It's so low. It's not even on the first ladder of initiation. It's the base, because that's not how we're going to build the world, the Age of Aquarius. And so that being said, we'll say I am in the 7 directions. I'm gonna take a peek down and, yeah, we can love people, and that's real love. Doesn't mean we excuse, if we're called to step up in a certain situation, we do, but very rarely does it call us to have real judgment unless we have to learn from it. And so let's take I am in the 7 directions. And so just building your diamond mudra right in front of your heart. And, I was talking a lot. That was a really deep download. I hope it's helpful. Just check in with your energy body right now. I ask that whatever is helpful that you are able to integrate, may it be yours, and may it blossom inside your heart in divine timing. If there was anything that is not needed at this time or just not a good fit, may it just simply slip away. This is only one stream. It is a powerful one, but you're at any given time, your own higher self is the determiner of the frequency that you take in. And so now, seeing your highest frequency in your heart right now, your goddess frequency, and now we'll bring it into the field. We'll say I am in the 7 directions and just see your frequency emanating into your aura consciously. And so repeating after me, I am before me. I am behind me. I am at my left. I am at my right. I am above me. I am below me. I am unto me. Please take a deep breath in, breathing in this divine frequency in your field. Breathe it in deeply, all the way in, and hold it. Lock for a moment in your solar plexus. Lift up, expand in your heart. Know your divine power within. Connect with your true frequency and exhale it all out. And we will activate your divine, your spiritual, and your physical power with I am, I am, I know I am. I am, I am, I know I am. Heart energy and some power. All right. So, I wish you tidings of comfort and joy for our season. I'm enjoying being with you so much. This is about connecting eventually to that universal frequency this is truly about leading us into this new age. I'll talk a little bit about the astrology of it tomorrow and talk a little bit really about what the Age of Aquarius is. It's a very real, energetic system that we are moving into. I'll talk about why, and I'll talk about that tomorrow when we look at the solar eclipse happening in Sagittarius. And really excited that will be tomorrow. I'm going to take a peek down, see if anyone has anything to say before we close out. And oh, so me too. Somebody said this is just really enjoying it. Me too. Oh, hugs to everyone here. Oh, you're here. Powerful stuff. My girlfriend is here who sent me that, post. I don't know if you saw it, if you were here in time, but I talked about it, talked about that training. All right, does anyone have anything you would like to bring in or anything? You can always come back and leave comments after the video. It takes me a second to get it back up, and you can comment there. Um, Please invite your friends. I'm gonna leave the 21 meditations up, and it's universal timing. So I would be so happy if you pass it on to somebody. I feel like there's a lot in here for people that can use this. This month, especially, is going to be, there's a lot of changes coming, huge, huge changes on the planet. So, my intention for this is just to give some tools and to create kind of a collective consciousness. I have all my work I do. I do my private mentorship and I work one on one sometimes, and so much work. But this group work that is in the public domain is very, very special to me. So that being said, all right, okay, I will see you tomorrow at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Many goddess blessings and namaste.